Just doing a little bit of work on the Jag tonight. It started flooding again and wouldn't start. Well, actually, it only ran on 2 or 3 cylinders, so I figured I'd find out why. And it looks like the cold tune that Brad did on it worked alright for a while until whatever was blocking the jet got loose. Now that jet is down 4.25 millimeters. You're only supposed to start at about 2.2 millimeters, so that's way too far down. Clearly there was something blocking it and then it's just dislodged. The other one seems to be alright, but I'll pull it apart and clean it anyway. But this Carbie was dry, but after taking the air cleaner off, this whole area was flooded. So the rear one is just flooding like mad. I'll clean all this out with Carbie cleaner. Sucked all that out with my little recovery unit. This is the compressor I got for Jay the Aussie. I decided to pick up the rest of the unit in case he wanted it. So tempting just to keep the damn thing for myself, but I said he could have it as a compressor. The rest of the unit costs extra, and I do have the original motor to go with it as well. 1.5 horsepower. So yeah, it works alright. Because the compressor pulls a vacuum on this bottle, which is a modified refrigerant bottle, and whatever you stick the hose into gets sucked into the bottle. Pretty straightforward. And that's just so that any splatter or anything gets caught, I can see if something's coming back towards the compressor. It's so tempting to turn this into a proper recovery unit for oils. And any gas just comes straight out here, no pressure. Being fuel vapor, it's essential not to have any sparks, and got a sealed motor and a spark-free low speed compressor. Pretty easy and safe. Never use high-speed compressors, or particularly high-speed vane-type compressors, or shop vacs. I've heard of more than a few people using shop vacs to clean up gasoline and resulting in a rather nasty fire or explosion. So yeah, that's what's happening tonight. Okay, we're looking a lot better now. New fuel filter. The old one had more red dust in it than the Nullarbor Desert. That would not have been helping, and that explains why there was red dust in each Carbie. I'm going to replace that next. Just a piece of copper tube and a new elbow, because that one's just sort of sitting there. It's a balanced tube, so we do sort of need one. That's the Distributor vacuum advance and retard module line. That can be replaced with straight vacuum hose. So that's all cracked and broken. Another vacuum leak, and that tiny little capillary line, assuming it's even working, would also be a restriction to the vacuum diaphragm, so it'll respond better with full diameter vacuum hose. Definitely a good addition. That's all good. That's PCV, or yeah, crankcase ventilation. Got to do that flat cap seal. I think Brad said he just used whatever he had on at the time, which I think was stag paste, and it's weeping in a few spots now, so I've got to do that before I take it for any serious drive. That's not such a worry, apparently. I would like to do it eventually, but that's not too bad, although it looks bad. Yeah. What else? Got a ton of new stuff. Got a good roll of fuel hose and half a dozen Ryco filters. They're Z14. I'm going to put some in line with the fuel pump as well. Each fuel pump's going to get a filter to help catch that crap, and I'll drain the tanks and back flush everything, but not at the moment. I'll get it going, make sure it works again, and then just replace the engine bay filter again once I back flush and do the whole system. Hopefully get rid of the rest of that red dirt. And that's just from outback fuel stations. This car's done a lot of miles across Australia, and unfortunately at some stage it's gotten really bad fuel in it from some outback fuel station, and the tanks are just full of red mud. Other crap. Oh well, time to get back to it. Okay, well, the vacuum advance diaphragm on this Distributor is actually perforated. That explains why Mr. Kitty has been a bit timid lately. There's no vacuum advance on the ignition. So, yeah, I'm going to remove this whole distributor, the clamp nut down the bottom, and I should just be able to pull it straight out and disconnect that tab there. I'm going to swap that top plastic piece over with the one that's come off the old engine, which you would have seen in many of my videos, just running it as a stationary engine. So I'm going to use that one, and I'll probably swap that condenser too, because the other one's got a Mazda condenser strapped to the side of it. Not the most reliable way to do it, so I'm going to take this out and just swap it over. I'll just have to retime everything afterwards. Seems pretty straightforward. Okay, well there's the two distributors together, the same model. This one came out of a fire victim car. This plastic surrounding everything had been melted and burnt. The distributor cap had also been badly burnt, so I think we replaced both of them and it worked again. Oh, and the condenser. This one here has the proper jag condenser and points and everything in it. Points look a bit old, got rust and everything on them, but this one here has a new set of points in it, so this is probably the much better option anyway. And the diaphragm's alright, whereas this one here is ruptured, perforated. Yeah, there's only one way these things can go in. It's got a keyed shaft on the housing itself, and that pin drive there is off centre. So there really is only one way this can go back in. It makes it a lot easier than the GM ones, which have a helical gear on the end of them, and that makes things quite tricky because you've got to reposition all your leads and then turn it and position it for timing. Yeah, so I'll pull this Mazda condenser off this one. Even though it works fine, I don't want it just strapped to the outside, so I'll pull the Mazda condenser off, use that condenser, compare the rotor buttons. See, that one there looks pretty good. Well, they both sort of are. I'll compare them pretty closely and just see what the better one is. Just make one really good dizzy out of the both of them. Yeah, see, that's a fairly reasonable plastic top. Looks like a bit of melting going on there. And that's the one from the fire damaged one that I was running on the stationary engine. Still worked alright, it was just mostly a spacer for the distributor cap. But I'd obviously hot-wired and replaced this terminal lead which had burnt off. Yeah, it's in remarkable condition. It got hot, but only the distributor cap and leads burnt. So the rest of the dizzy is fine, the bearings feel fine, I've cleaned and lubricated everything. And yeah, it seems to be alright. So I'll just finish picking parts off this one and rebuild this one. And the points on this one are nasty, there's a lot of water gotten into there. Oh, that was interesting. Trying to tune this thing on the go, but it seems to work alright. Ignition's back where it should be, if not maybe a little more advanced. Carbie seem happy. It's nice and hot now, so it's going to be a very easy start, but you get the idea. A cold start and a good test drive will really tell for sure, but I'm going to give it a bit of a wash and everything before I do that. Yeah. Let's try and find the key. That one. Silly, or a bloody idler bearing or something squeaking. Either it's the air conditioning compressor, power steering pump, or belt tensioner idler. Yeah, you just touch the gas and it wants to go. Can't see shit, but yeah. Being hot, I'll shut it off in gear just in case it does try and diesel. Thump. There we go. Yeah, you gotta love this engine. Really high compression head. It's a Series 3 head on a Series 1 block, and the head's been shaved to buggery. They've done a lot of work to it. They've shaved it, they've grub screwed the valve buckets, they've put special valves and valve guides in it. Yeah, it's roughly 11.5 to 1 or something compression ratio. So if you don't run high octane gas, it will try and diesel when you turn it off, and it'll ping going up hills and under load. So yeah, very nice car, and it will go a lot better now. The new interior light bulb, that one fell to bits.